So today, actually, we are going to be looking at our history lessons. And on this channel, don't forget that we study history, geography, and economics. And you can go through, you're a student, can go through our classes. Today, we are going to be looking at lesson 15 of history. And I want you to pay attention to these classes. You can have a notebook, or you can come back to this video and watch this video. And if you have not yet watched our other classes, you can go through our classes that we have made. We are now on lesson 15, meaning that we have lesson 1 to lesson 14. So you can follow free economic classes on our channel. So right now, let's start our lesson 15 of classes of today. So let's get the teaching and be inspired.
Okay, so our history lessons is lesson 15. If you are new to my channel, make sure that you go through the classes. We are right now on lesson 15. On this channel, we study history, economics, and geography, and other things like how to make money online. We show students how to be successful and also how to run a successful business. So right now we are going to look at the general causes of African resistance to European colonization. What are the general causes? What makes African to resist colonization? During the First World War, African communities resisted oppressive colonial demands with limited exceptions. Africans were largely excluded from the decision making processes that led to the war. The establishment of war objectives and the methods of prosecution. Nevertheless, European powers, colonial powers anticipated that Africans would contribute to the war effort and show unwavering loyalty to imperial interest. The wartime agenda the wartime agenda of the colonizers and the widespread abuses that emerged revealed the exploitative nature of colonial rule in unprecedented ways. Many African polities rose in opposition to the colonial order, seeking to challenge or dismantle it. It is incorrect to limit the numerous acts of resistance and rebellion that took place during the war in the years 1914 to 1918. The factors that drove African populations to oppose colonial rule often stemmed from deep-seated grievances regarding their labor exploitation, taxation, racist and paternalistic practices, arbitrary violence, and political illegitimacy. While historical accounts of resistance during the war tend to emphasize colonial anxieties about losing authority over their territories amid the conflict, the origins of the frequently violent responses observed between 1914 and 1918 are rooted in the varied local and regional concerns of those who engage in actions that will later be labeled as anti-colonial. So the first point that make here we have actually seen the introduction. So the first point that led to African resisting colonial rule globally was labor refusal. This is because the Europeans actually imposed forced labor and Africans had to refuse it, that they will not accept forced labor. So the aggressive surge of colonialism between 1890 and 1914 introduced new labor systems that disrupted local practices. Colonizers took advantage of African workers by offering minimal or no wages, often collaborating with local African leaders to enforce labor levies. They provided incentives to persuade these leaders to comply and resorted to threats of violence against those who resisted. Africans who faced accusations of crimes, owed debts, or had other obligations to their local patrons were particularly susceptible to these colonial labor demands. Such arrangements contradicted local norms regarding legitimate labor requests, highlighting a broader crisis of legitimacy within the colonial framework. Claims of persistent labor shortages intensified colonial anxieties about regulating African labor and prioritized colonial interests above all else. To escape the military and administrative abuse of colonial rule, Africans employed avoidance strategies, When news of advancing colonial troops, tax collectors, or labor recruiters reached them, many fled their homes or hid to evade violent encounters and dispossession. With the onset of the World War One, Africans became aware that the demand for labor from colonizers would greatly intensify. Their attempts to evade forced labor hindered recruitment goals and the war effort overall. For instance, in rural Senegal, it was reported that for every soldier recruited between 1914 and 1917, another potential recruit fled the colony in search of safety in foreign lands. Similar occurrences were noted in various regions of Nigeria, as well as in Guinea and Dahomey, now Benin. Moreover, in Portuguese East Africa, Mozambique, recruitment pressures compelled the Barul to rise up against the Portuguese in 1917. The second point is militarizing elites and resistance. In the southern eastern of British Salan, now Malawi, so it was called Salan, now Malawi, similar situation was developing, much like the Giriama, the local population in Salan experienced the severe impacts of the East African campaign. The extent the extent of the new British recruitment raised concerns among Malawians who feared significant shifts in their communal way of life, influenced by regional prophetic traditions and millenarian beliefs. Many view the outbreak of the Great War as a significant opportunity for transformative change. The third point on the resistance is refigurating political authority. The Vola Bani resistance against French colonial rule in West Africa serves as a compelling illustration of how African communities perceived and reacted to changes in colonial wartime strategies seeking to reshape local political power. With the advent of World War One, colonial authorities and military leaders redirected manpower and resources towards the war effort, creating openings for challenges to their dominance. In French West Africa, the administration significantly minimized its military presence. At the onset of the war, 39, this reduction left colonial outposts often isolated and under-resourced, susceptible to attacks. By late 1915, 11 villages in the Volta region, now part of Burkina Faso, seized the moment to attempt to drive the French out. 40 early setbacks for the French forces gave courage to the anti-colonial partisans, leading to an increasing number of individuals joining the resistance. Throughout 1916, they engaged in conflict with French colonial troops, achieving enough victories that French authorities began to privately doubt their capacity to maintain control. In retaliation, French forces employed brutal scorched-earth politics tactics to obliterate villages, a common approach in colonial warfare. 41. They proclaimed military victory in February 1917 after mustering a large army for and focusing on specific insurgent strongholds. However, opposition persisted long after this declaration, challenging the notion of French dominance. The population resistance to French colonial compelled civilian officials to justify military occupation of the region, even while there was a pressing need for troops on the Western Front in Europe. This resulted in harsh regulations governing village life. The resellers' new demands for military and other labor as well as fines and impositions for cultural conformity upon the Volta Bani peoples. Many fled the area, leading to significant population declines in some regions and the emergence of new refugee communities elsewhere. Agricultural productivity slumbered to minimal resistance levels as defeated communities struggled to survive while race refusing to engage in large-scale colonial agricultural programs. The resistance movements prompted the French to fundamentally alter the region's layout, ultimately resulting in its division into two colonies, modern-day Mali and Burkina Faso. In 1919 to 1945, consequently, the multifaceted repercussions of the anti-colonial struggle resulted far beyond the war itself, reshaping regional politics in ways that the volatile Bani peoples had not anticipated when they rose up against the French Empire. So that is it today about our classes of lesson 15, the general causes of.
So that is all about our history lessons for today. So if you are new into my channel, make sure that you subscribe. Look into below, you see the red button. Hit that red button, hit the notification bell, because I come with teachings like this all the time for you. We don't only talk about history, economics, and geography. We talk about other subjects. We also talk about how you can make money online, how you can be successful. We bring you affiliate marketing and all that comprises. So as a student, not only are you successful in your studies, you also be successful in your life. That is all what we teach in this channel. So thank you guys. Share this with other students so that they might benefit from this knowledge and have free classes given to them every day. Thank you.